This Duo integration with Kali Linux is more for the Kali fans out there. It'll be slightly different from the usual tutorial. I was downloading the new Kali 2020 and I thought of just integrating Duo with it. It's been a while since I last tried some of the CTF, HTTP stuff. For those of you who knows what those means, great. If not, that's no big deal, right? So what I want to show you is, since I just downloaded a new Kali 2020 edition, I'm going to show you what are some of the basic configuration that you should consider setting up before downloading the VPN to start your CTF or HTTP activities. So I'm going to basically let the typing on the left do most of my talking. The initial part is really about, setting up the basic stuff to protect your Kali Linux. You can check the version of the Kali that you have downloaded. Although the new Kali no longer uses the root Tor configuration up front, instead they use Kali as the default username and password. It's always good to change the password once you get hold of the system. Or better still, create a new user. Remember to add user to the sudo group. You might want to generate a new key pair. Let's start the SSH service. And you can enable SSH to be persistent. We're going to try to log into the Kali Linux. Always treat your secret key safe. Now we're going to go through and follow the guides on how to install the additional library like OpenSSL, PEM libraries, and etc. You can follow the other videos for the step-by-step guide. Okay, this is the part where we start configuring the DUO integration. For those of you who have patiently waited to this section, good for you. It's similar to the video that I've shown earlier in the tutorial. Over here, I'm not going to do too much talking. Just get the package, download it, go through the whole integration process of copying and pasting the commands, and then you should get the basic stuff running. I'll jump in when there are a little bit more to explain in terms of troubleshooting. Okay, we have completed all the implementation that is required. I'm going to show you how it works now. Okay, the DUO MFA working with the username and password logging in. For those of you who have followed this video till this part, I'm going to show you something that is not shown in the rest of the tutorial, which is basically configuring using public key to log into your SSH session and how DUO MFA will work as well. First, locate your public key and then copy it into a clipboard, right, using pb copy command. This is a shortcut. Usually you will do the SCP to upload the keys and etc. But since this is a little bit more advanced, we're going to do a couple of the manual and quick way of configuring SSH keys. What I'm doing here is basically adding the public key of the client into the authorized key file in the target server. What this does is that it will trust the public key of this particular SSH client. So if you know how SSH key works, effectively you are using the private key of the client to log into the target server, and therefore the SSH key is required to verify that the private key is the correct one. To a lot of people, using SSH key might be a little bit complex, right? But actually it's not. It's really understanding the concept of public and private key. And there's no way you can become a pen tester or a proper pen tester for Linux or Unix systems without understanding how SSH key works. Now I'm going to turn on the configuration in the sshd config file to basically use public key as a way to authenticate versus just username and password. Actually, I'm going to turn off username and password authentication. In the DUO guide, they actually tell you what are the configurations that you need to change for public key authentication to work. There are a lot more other configuration you can do, but I'm not going to go through that in this tutorial. You see some additional steps that you can do to check for the keywords. It can get quite boring just following the guide. Sometimes it's nice to just play around with the configuration and understand what it does. So once we finish configuration on the server, let's go back to the client, right? You like to use a client because I can manage a couple of sessions. For those Linux experts, you are used to the command line, you can move around quickly, you know what to do, right? So effectively what I'm going to do here is to configure the client to use certificate to log in, right? So a little bit of tweaking here and there, just to figure out what I need to do, right? So what I'm going to do is go into the properties. You notice that username is very important, right? Make sure the username is correct. I've already configured the cert in advance by loading the keyring into the client file. So it should work now. The DUO setup is the same. You can see once you tap on approve, we're in. And we don't have to rekey in the username or password again. Well, there are a lot more security capability that we can, configure for your Linux server, right? But for those of you who use Kali a lot, you know that this is not the machine that you want to store any sensitive information on, right? It's a machine that you're exposing yourself to a hostile environment. Hey, why not try out a DUO MFA to see, if there's anything funny going on, while you're having fun out there capturing the flag. I'll be doing a lot more video on how to protect the customers and your environment first. Once I get that done, maybe sometime down the road in another maybe 6 months, when I get some time outside my sales job, which I'm basically helping to sell security solutions to customers to protect themselves. I might do some fun video on how pen testing works, right? I like to basically dabble on the pen testing side of things. It's more of a hobby so that I understand how the other side works, and hopefully we'll be able to basically help the customers to adopt the security solution that I'm proposing, right? So it's very fun, right? To actually know why and what you're selling and how it might help, and what are the gaps that you can basically add on to basically enhance the security postures and further protect the customer's environment. And for those of you who are setting up labs, go beyond just basic stuff, right? The networking, the security piece, go set up a web portal, go register a certificate, have a feel of how, spam mail works, how do you basically use the malware available, out there to basically do your own sandboxing and testing out what it does, right? It actually is fun, if you are really into security. So that's all, folks. Stay tuned for more video while I get back to my day job.